And a welcome here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We hope you're having a wonderful morning this morning. Appreciate your patience. My first guest and I always have great conversation, and those conversations off the air and on the air are ones that I treasure very much because he's a good friend. So Steve Addazio is going to be joining us in just a few moments in the college football world, speaking on all things college football here this morning as we edge closer and closer to decision-making time for the College Football Playoff Committee. And, of course, we thank everything I do that Steve has done as a head coach in the world of college football, as well as a coach in general, and now currently college football analyst for ESPN and commentator on the ACC Network. And he'll be joining us here for the first hour. And in hour number 2, we'll continue our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership specials with Binghamton University and your Bearcats with Yanniah Boyd. Yanniah Boyd joining me from the Binghamton Bearcats Division I women's basketball team, and just had the opportunity to see them live and got to see them start off the season here undefeated. So we'll be talking with Yanniah, and we'll end the show with the ingredients to success, proudly presented by the wonderful team at Avicolli's, speaking on the topic today, what's your value? So all of that's coming up and down the East Coast, the Midwest, the West Coast, and all around the globe on YouTube.com and Facebook.com, both / WakeUpCallDT, and on WakeUpCallDT.podbean.com. So we appreciate you being here wherever you are, and we thank you so much for being inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. And before I go anywhere today, let me say this. Shout out to my godson who got me this awesome shirt. My godson Noah, God bless to you, and I love you, buddy. So with that being said, picture in picture here with somebody that I respect and appreciate very much in and outside of the sports world, and that is Steve Addazio joining me here once again, college football analyst for ESPN, commentator on the ACC Network, talking all things college football with the longtime head college football coach. Steve, how are we doing today?
Great, Dan. Great to be with you. Great to get up and talk a little college football.
Yeah, absolutely. And to have this opportunity together to be able to do that and to have conversation this morning, means a lot to me, like I said before, and happy to have you here on the broadcast to talk all things college football. So we'd love to get your thoughts first and foremost with something that you and I were discussing off the air, which is what the heck does it mean when somebody says that you do or you do not pass the eye test?
Well, I guess what it means is a group of people are watching, and based on what they see, they're determining whether a team is a good team or a better team or a worse team. And my problem with all of this is, what are the credentials of people making these decisions? Okay? To evaluate a team, to look at the film, to watch the TV copy, you got to understand what really makes a good football team. And I don't think a lot of people have that expertise. I mean, if there's a medical decision to be made on whatever, malpractice or something, they have people come in that are medical professionals. And I think there needs to be more coaches on the committees making these decisions because they have the expertise to evaluate what they're really truly looking at in a non-biased manner. And I'm not trying to suggest that anybody's doing anything nefarious on any committee. That's not my point. I don't believe that. But it does. Sometimes I look at some people on the committee and I say, well, what qualified them to really understand? Again, I want to be specific.
Yeah.
The look test. Like, what are you looking at? If you want to say, like, as the fan test, sure. I'm a fan. This is what I think. That's okay. But that's not fair to really finding out who are the very, very best football teams. When you're talking about the look test. The look test means I'm watching the film and this is what I see. And I say, what's your expertise to make that decision? Anyways, that's a lot to say about that right now. But I think we can do a better job of who are making those decisions, although I think everyone's doing it with the best intentions. And I'm probably not, I don't love the expansion of all these playoffs to begin with because I really believe in rivalry games and I believe in conference championships, and I think they get diminished. But that's probably another day.
Well, and you have a point. There's a lot of things that you brought up, and I told you this off the air. I said it on the air last week, when I was on the College Football Playoff Committee call, and, listening to what they had, the representation had to say about why they made the choices they made for the top 25. And the committee and I, listen, I mean, the first rankings that they had, I released my top 25. I released it before the college football playoff released theirs, and we were almost exactly the same in most cases, or we were maybe one spot off. It wasn't until you got to the bottom where it seemed like they were trying to push in as many Big Ten teams as humanly possible, where there wasn't really a reason for USC or Washington or Michigan. And, I talk about quad wins, which is like college basketball, and we'll get into that a little bit later. But when we go back to the eye test, I said this to you, and like I said, I've made this statement before, that when I was on that call, I heard them talk about, well, Notre Dame passes the eye test. And I said, well, everybody passes the eye test when you're at a bar and you've had a few and it's late at night and everything's dark, right? I mean, everybody passes the eye test and everybody looks good with dim light and a lot of alcohol in somebody's system. And I'm not suggesting the committee's drinking. I'm making an analogy of stating the fact that everything can look good in certain situations. But I want to talk with you, Steve, about something that I think you and I agree on. And that is that there are teams that are valued by their quality loss. And I have a confusion with celebrating a team not winning. So there's teams like Memphis where they say they don't play anybody. They don't play ranked people. And I say, well, Ohio State, most of their schedule is against unranked people. And most of Indiana's schedule is against unranked people. And Indiana's end of season schedule was against winless teams in their conference, and they still are playing those games. So when Memphis is knocked and the Americans knocked and Coastal Carolina and Appalachian State and a James Madison this year, the Sun Belt is knocked, I go back to the Big Ten playing most of their schedule against the Rutgers and the Marylands and the Minnesotas and, the bottom, the Purdue's, the Michigan States, the bottom feeders of the Big Ten. So I guess my question to you is, if you're playing those games and you're beating those unranked teams, like Notre Dame has, and then Notre Dame plays Texas A&M, loses by 1, plays Miami, loses by 3, and then people say, well, Texas A&M and Miami are good teams. They almost beat them. Well, there's teams that actually did beat them that are lower than Notre Dame in the rankings and have the same amount of losses. But Notre Dame is in the top 10 because they almost beat good teams, and then they did beat a not-so-good USC team that lost to Illinois, and then they blew out Navy, who they always beat every year. So I'm trying to understand what the eye test is there and what a quality loss means.
Yeah, I mean, quality loss. Wow. I mean, I don't know what that means. I do understand strength of schedule, but what I don't understand with strength of schedule is that based off of preseason strength of schedule? Because there's a lot of teams that had strength of schedule. I mean, you look in the ACC. I mean, Clemson, Florida State, they're all ranked fairly high in preseason, but that didn't pan out. So I think you have to have the ability to look at, like, you can't say, well, they beat a team that was a preseason top 10 team. Well, okay, but where are they now? I mean, all this is relative. And this is why I say you've got to, at the end of the day, you've got to be able to evaluate. I mean, I can watch teams and I can tell what a good football team is or what a not so good football team is. You can judge it in a lot of ways, but I don't think all the people involved in this have the ability to do that. And that's a shame. And I don't want to slight or throw shade on anybody. That's not like you and I didn't get up this morning to do that. I mean, We have our opinions, but I do agree with you. Like, I'm going to be honest. I'm a Notre Dame fan. I coach there. I have a great appreciation and love for Notre Dame. But, I mean, they were ranked significantly ahead of a Georgia Tech team with 1 loss. They had 2 losses, and they lost to both 2 of the toughest teams they played on their schedule. Well, okay, they lost those games and then beat other teams that really weren't necessarily that good. And, let that play out more. They probably shouldn't be ranked that high. Maybe in the end they would be. But, these dynamics, this discussion, it goes round and round. You can't keep everybody happy. I'm fully aware of that.
Yeah.
And everybody's trying their best. And but I say this to you, Dan. Strength of schedule matters. Like I'm a line coach by trade, And I often look at, and I hear people say, "Oh, that offensive line's really good," and I say, "Yeah, but they don't play in a line of scrimmage conference." You watch one line go against, like, say in the SEC, one offensive line goes against a great defensive line. That offensive line might struggle, but had they not played that SEC team, had they played a host of other teams where they're not very good on defense, that offensive line would look really good. Why do people make a lot of mistakes when they evaluate offensive linemen? I'll tell you why. Because they don't evaluate them against good competition. When you take a lineman and they can push around inferior players, they can look really good. But when they go against somebody really good and they can't budge them an inch, that's when you know whether they really have a top end or not. But people make this mistake, college, high school, pros, all over the place. So who you play matters. The competition you play against, whether it be as a team or as an individual player, matters. And this is what the one thing that I've been saying for a long, long time. I've always, said that, hey, the SEC is a dominant conference. And you say, well, why do you say that, Steve? Because of the line of scrimmage. Yeah. It's different. I coached in all these conferences. That's different. So when you make these evaluations, make sure you know, is it apples to apples, I guess is what I'm trying to say, long-winded. And that all goes into the ability to make these comparisons and these decisions.
And you bring up, and like you said, I mean, we're just stating a thing here. But if strength of schedule, if that matters, which I agree that it does, who you play, you have to beat them. When Memphis loses to okay, I had a perfect example this season. Oklahoma State didn't have a good season. They fired their longtime head coach, right? Everybody's beaten Oklahoma State for the most part. But when Tulsa beat Oklahoma State, I said there's going to be two reactions to this. When Tulsa, now if anybody else, if in the SEC, the Big 12, whoever beats Oklahoma State, they go, well, Oklahoma State stinks this year. Now, Tulsa beats Oklahoma State, their reaction is, well, they beat a bad Oklahoma State. But if Tulsa lost to Oklahoma State, they would say, well, Tulsa needs to stay in their lane because Oklahoma State's in the Big 12 and Tulsa's in the American. So there's this, they don't get credit for beating them. If they do beat them, then they say they were down. Remember when UCF was undefeated and they beat Auburn, some people were out there saying, well, they only beat Auburn because Auburn didn't care and they didn't want to get off the plane and it didn't matter to them. Instead of just saying they were the inferior team that day, UCF got the victory. So there's certain conferences that when they win, well, that team stinks. Well, that team did this. Well, they had a hangnail before the game started. When they lose, they tell them to stay in their lane. And so when I'm talking with people about the rankings and how I rank, they say, well, if you're undefeated, Dan, it's not your fault of your schedule. It's not your fault how teams end up being. It's not your fault you play Illinois and they're 9 in the country and then they end up being horrible. And I say what you just said. When I'm looking, if I was on the College Football Playoff Committee and it's my decision to choose 12 teams and I have to take the 5 highest ranked conference champions and then 7 at large, I'm sitting in that room not caring that Illinois was number 9. I care about where they are now. I don't care that Florida State was ranked 8. I care where Florida State is now. I don't care that Clemson was supposed to be a good team this year. I care about where they are now. And I feel like it stinks, but you say strength of schedule matters, and I agree with you, but you're at the mercy of how your opponents play before you, with you, and after you. And I'm not going to give credit to somebody for beating Illinois this season any more than I'm going to not think about the fact that they lost to Florida State when Florida State wasn't good. And I told you this before we got started. If Alabama beats Florida State with every other thing on their schedule, that one loss, I'll tell you this right now, that one loss Alabama team, I'd rather play Ohio State than them. I'd rather play Indiana than them. I'd rather play Texas A&M than them. And those are undefeated teams. Sometimes being undefeated doesn't mean you're the best in the country. But certain undefeated conference teams if you're undefeated in the Big Ten, you're great. If you're undefeated in the American, you don't play anybody. And I don't think that argument is fair when the majority of the Big Ten is unranked. And that's just my thought on it.
Here's, and you and I may not agree on this, okay. and that's fine. Yep. But here's where I struggle sometimes with all this. This is just, I'm going to speak with my own opinion about how I look at things. Well, couple of things. Number one, any team can beat any other team on any given day. Okay.
Yep.
Number two, here's the thing. What's really hard to do is to week in and week out play really good teams. You can be in a lesser conference with a lesser schedule, and you can pop up and beat a good team from a good conference who's just because you're not as physically beat down. The grind of the season hasn't been as hard. You've got more positive momentum, whereas this other team in this conference may win, lose, win, but in the process lose 6 starters because of the physicality of what they're playing.
Yeah.
And so I think I have looked in the past at this, and I struggle with this. Like a team from a lesser conference say, well, they're undefeated, they should be in. And I say to myself sometimes, okay, is that team better than, say, the 4th-ranked team in the SEC? I mean, who might have 2 losses. But maybe that's when you have to look at what was their schedule like. I mean, is that 2-loss SEC team better than that undefeated, I don't know, whatever, AAC team? And my hunch might be that maybe that may be true. Now, you have to really look at the tape and evaluate that. But that's where these tough decisions come into play. And I think certain conferences that have to run the gauntlet scheduling wise. Like, I'm going to go back. Let me wind back. When I was the head coach at Boston College, we were on the side of the division that obviously had, Clemson when they were at their peak, Florida State at their peak.
Yeah.
And so like our division, there was 3 national championships on our division in 5 years. And so on our side, I mean, you're up against Goliaths.
Yeah.
Right? At that time. Because the ACC was at the peak. They're not necessarily where they were not now where they were then, but that was the peak. I mean, national titles speak the language. And, on the other division, we used to argue, well, that's why I was like, these divisions aren't fair. Because the other division had a clearer path.
Yeah.
With more like teams, with more, games that were more evenly matched. And so like you look at that and you make an evaluation. Well, how come this team can go to the conference championship and this team can't or whatever? Well, who did they play? They might not have played the 2 best teams in the conference on one side, but on their side, they were able to get there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is never going to end in football. I guess that's why it still comes down to the fact that you have to be able to have the expertise to watch it and evaluate it and make those hard decisions. And I think the more teams that get in here, people think that makes it more fair. At the end of the day, I think we all know who the, top teams are.
Yeah.
Why do we need all these other teams? I mean, then all this stuff starts to come into play. And that's why like these expanded, watered down playoff games and bracketing and I don't know. I mean, I saw last year a lot of teams win games and they just got a good draw on the whole thing. So it is what it is. It makes good conversation for guys like us to get on the radio and banter about and, and I know it's not a perfect science here, but all the things you and I are talking about are all the factors that everybody's confronted with identifying who really are the best teams. So I go back to my original statement, then who are the people making those decisions and what are their qualifications for that? We better make sure that that's an elite group that has elite expertise if all this money is going to ride on these decisions.
And what I struggle with is I've seen bias in rankings, and then I see where people are connected. Well, this is this person's an AD in this conference. Well, this conference seems to get prime positioning. Well, this person, and so there's that side of it too, because we're human beings, Steve. We're human beings. Like you said, I'm a Notre Dame fan. Like, I don't understand what a quality loss is, but I'm still a Notre Dame fan. Like, I want Syracuse to go 12-0 every year. That's my hometown. I'm an impartial broadcaster. So before the season started, I said 8-4. Since then, I said, I don't think they're going to win another game. 3-9 probably. And they're not going to beat Notre Dame. And if they lose to Boston College, they're going to be the worst team in the ACC because Boston College is the worst right now and Syracuse is the second worst. But I want them to win. Now, do I think that an undefeated Syracuse would, like last season, they had 10 wins. Did that team at 9-3, should they be in the top 15 in the country? No, they shouldn't be. They beat Miami. That's good. But that goes back to my argument of Syracuse beat Miami. They had that one quad one win. Notre Dame lost to Miami this year, and they're like, yeah, but they almost beat them. And so certain teams have certain discussions that other teams don't get. And that's what I'm getting down to with people. And I told you this, like I put out Indiana 3 weeks ago. I said, they're not in the top 2 in the country. I said, they're not. They have a win at Oregon that I respect. They have a win at Iowa I respect. But I don't consider them to be in the top 2 in the country. And I got hate mail like crazy. Now, nobody bothered to ask me where I had them. I had them at 3 or 4. So we're complaining that he doesn't have them at 1 and 2, but he has them at 3 or 4. But at the same time, you know, I'm looking at Alabama and I'm going, man, if you didn't have that loss to Florida State, we're not talking about anything. But Steve, if you're a coach right now, do you want to play Alabama or do you want to play Indiana? You know what I mean? Like that's, and I'm not saying that either one of them's a bad team. I'm just saying Indiana's schedule is against 500 or below 500 teams. I did all my research on this. I don't make comments to make comments. And I looked at it and said, okay, their opponents in conference have an overall record at this time of 500. In out of conference, or overall, they had a record of 500. In the conference, they had a record of 14-29. They had a record of 35-35 overall. I looked at their non-conference opponents. They had an FCS opponent. I'm like, okay, this team's doing good, but they're in the FCS. So when you looked at it, you said Indiana's schedule was against, by and large, overall, teams that were 500 across the board or below 500, and then they have 2 wins that were quality. So I say, okay, if I'm in the SEC, to your point, Steve, I'm getting the hell beat out of me in certain cases with certain teams for 7 weeks, 8 weeks. And then I got to try and win the college football playoff. Whereas if I'm in the Big Ten, like if you were a coach right now, you don't want to play Maryland, Michigan State, Purdue, Penn State right now. I said Syracuse had a chance to win another game if they played some of those teams. But there's just this, like, this team is in this conference and they didn't lose. And I'm like, okay, but who's Indiana's competition? Who's Ohio State's competition versus who's Alabama's competition? Who's been LSU's competition? I know they're not in it, but who was their competition this year? Who's Ole Miss playing this year? Like, if you're Vanderbilt, in my opinion, you're better than Notre Dame because they've been challenged more and they've risen to the challenge. So I think it's difficult to kind of break this down, but I want to go back to a point that you made because you and I were talking about a team preseason, and I think you're going to remember what I said to you. I'll leave the team off the air here, but I said to you that there was a team that finally got offensive linemen that looked the part. I said they're taller than they used to be, and they're bigger than they used to be. They look the part of linemen. They're 300 plus pounds. They're 6'6", they're 6'7", but they look the part. Can they play the role? And you made a comment about that. You made a comment about and what did you say to me? You talked to me about technique. You talked to me about the fact that they might look it, but they don't do it because you were watching practices throughout the preseason. And that's something I want to get back to with you, is a point that you made again today when people assess a team and they go, man, these linemen look great, but who are they playing?
Right. Listen, that's the biggest, to me, a good receiver is a good receiver. A good back's a good back. It usually comes down to the line of scrimmage, offensive line, defensive line. And this is where these conversations usually have the most bearing. And yes, big does not mean good. You might pass the eyeball test, but you can't play. You can't move. You can't change direction. You're not explosive. And these are the things, like, as a line coach, what do I look at? I'm telling you, there's a lot of coaches out there who say, well, he's big. I want big. And I'm like, I don't care if he's big. I mean, big's great if big is good. If not, I've had a guy, Chris Lindstrom wasn't real big at Boston College. He was a first-round draft pick, and he's all pro. Why? The Pounceys at Florida weren't that big. Why? Because they were explosive. They could knock people back. They could surge. And so, yeah, I mean, again, I can look at that critically, but I got to tell you, there's a lot of coaches that make the same mistake. And I hear it from, I'll go interview coaches, yeah, but we got size. I'm like, okay, well, that and a dime will get you a cup of coffee. Yeah. I mean, are they good? Because usually when you're big and you're really good, you are elite. That means you're going to the most elite places, especially in today's college football world. Like, back in the day, you could develop guys and they could leave your school as elite. But nowadays, you get an elite guy, you got a high chance of losing that guy because everyone's looking for the big, really good player out there. So what do you get? You get the elite schools have a chance to get the really big, really good players. Then sometimes the really big ones that aren't so good will fall down to some smaller schools. And then in between it's a mixed bag. So, yeah. So I think you got to be able to evaluate it. I think you have to be able to look at it and listen. It's not just media people or coaches have a hard time sometimes really, really understanding. And then, of course, you mentioned, I shouldn't walk away because it's so important to me, the fundamentals and the technique. I believe that you can take an offensive lineman who's got a little bit of athleticism, a little bit of twitch, and you can coach him and create tremendous fundamental, even bigger guys who aren't as good, but you can help shape an offensive lineman with great coaching. That there are a handful of really good line coaches that are really good teachers and they're fundamental instructors, and you watch them, you can see when they're good and they've been coached really well. You can tell they learn how to be efficient with their footwork and their body. And then you can tell guys that they're not really coached very well fundamentally. They just put their body on people. Yeah. And what happens is that's great, but when defenses start to blitz and twist and move and you don't have good footwork, you're spitting in the hole, you can't function, or when you're on the edge and you open your hips up when you're in protection and guys turn the corner on you or up and under you, and you don't have you've got what God gave you, but then you also have to have some coaching. Yeah. And with really good coaching, you can maximize your players, and especially up front.
Yeah, you mentioned it, and it's something that I think about now in the world of NIL and the transfer portal, in the world of constant I don't even know if I can call it free agency because free agency has parameters, but in the world of just wild horses and no fence. Are teams that are good because they're developing players? Or are they good because the players are just sheer talented and they got them for a year and the talent gets them through? Because one thing that I really look at nowadays, Steve, is they talk about this guy's a good recruiter. This guy could bring him in. But who's developing players anymore? Who is literally taking somebody who has raw talent, who has God-given talent, but is developing that, growing that, pushing that person? Are we seeing that a lot? Or are the teams that are the best teams in the country the ones that recruit the raw talent and the raw talent's good enough and that's it? I mean, are we seeing developmental coaches rise to the top in college football anymore?
Well, it's a really good question, and this is what I think. I think let's look at pre-NIL portal. The guys that were highly successful. Start with Nick Saban. Okay, Nick Saban does a really good job of coaching. Okay, they did a good job of recruiting, coaching, and developing. And they also, of course, because they're at Alabama, had the access and the means to be able to get some of the very, very best players in the country. So they went hand in hand, okay? You look at Urban Meyer at Florida. We had the ability to track really good players, but he was a really good football coach. We had a really good football staff, so we could maximize both ends of that thing. And I think what's happened right now, a couple things, is in football, you also need to be really good, you have to get a really good quarterback. Quarterbacks bring all the boats up with the tide, okay? And so, if you have an elite quarterback, you can win a lot of football games. You look at all these teams that win a national championship or smaller teams that have great years. You usually find that they had this like gem they found as a quarterback. Okay, like Wolford at Wake Forest, or I mean, you go down the list of guys, right? But so the quarterback's critically important. So now in today's environment, if you're not a great identifier of talent and recruiting, if you're not a great culture builder, if you're not a great developer, you can still change your fortune by going into the portal and buying, let's say, an elite quarterback. We've seen teams last year that did that. Okay, yeah. They went in, they got an elite quarterback, and it changed the course. But if you look at the team, you can say that's not a great team, but they have a really good quarterback with a couple of key players they plugged in there, and they could really win some games. So when you're really good is when that portal now meets those people that still can develop and build. And then I'm going to bring you to this point. So you mentioned Indiana. Well, I think Kurt Cignetti is a really good football coach, okay? I want to put that out there. I think this guy identifies talent. I've talked to him before. I think he identifies talent really well, and I think he coaches really well. So I think what you're seeing in Indiana is a really good old school kind of real good ball coach kind of guy, coupled with the ability to plug in an elite quarterback over the last couple of cycles, and then maximizing what he has, which probably isn't the same talent level as some of these other places. And then, to your point, in the bag, shake it up with a very favorable schedule. And what do you have? You've got a bunch of winning. You know, it's happening teams in the ACC every conference, right? I mean, let's not forget, a year ago, some teams had rated the easiest schedule in college football, and you couple that with a marquee player and you put it in a bag, and you can. So schedule matters. I've always believed that schedule matters. You got to have a quarterback, and then if you have a coach that's really good developing culture, and not just culture, but fundamentally you can maximize your football team, you got a really good success ingredient. But most legitimate teams that win it all or are the elite of college football, they've got pretty good coaches that can develop. And what's happened is years ago, if you didn't recruit right, you could really run amok. Okay. Yeah. Now, if you made a bunch of mistakes recruiting, you can change it in a hurry with a couple of key players. And then what's happened in college football, Dan, overall is it's sort of got watered down a little bit. So let's say you're at Alabama. Your seventh offensive lineman, who might be better than any starter at some other school, wants to play. He's leaving Alabama now. He's going to take the money and go to whatever. So that's happening across the country. Some really great quality backups or whatever, or really good players at a lower level are coming up and evening out football just a little bit. And then, of course, the ability, only one quarterback can play on any given team. So these other quarterbacks that are really good are getting spread out amongst everybody. And so, the elite of college football is losing their depth, which you need in a long season to be able to win important games at the end. Yeah. And these smaller programs who don't play the same schedule are getting better players, be it up front, be it at quarterback. And so you're seeing a little bit of a leveling of college football, and that's all because of the portal, and that's because of NIL. The last thing I want to say, I don't mean to talk so much, but these subjects are important to me. I get around all college football, and I watch, and I go to practices, and I see a lot of tape. What kind of blows my mind right now is I'll be talking to a coach, and I'll see, let's say I'm looking at the offense line, for example, okay? Just an example.
Yeah. And
I'll say, okay, that guy is making $500,000, okay? And I'm like, he's not very good. In fact, he kind of stinks to me. And this guy over here is making $150,000. He's twice the player. So what you're seeing happening right now is in this mad rush of money, people are spending money not wisely, and they're making bad decisions and just paying guys to get guys. And once again, let's go back to that ability to evaluate. The players are bringing aren't very good. So there's that evaluative technique or that expertise still matters. Imagine you're paying $500 guy, he stinks, and another guy over here makes $75,000 or $100,000, and he's really good. Well, a bunch of people made some really bad decisions.
Yeah.
And that happens in the NFL. And that comes back to haunt you all the time. So is it an exact science? No, but I go back to the example of Kirk Cignetti. I think that guy's a pretty darn good football coach. I think that guy has maximized whatever he can maximize in Indiana. And then, of course, out of his control, he's had a pretty favorable schedule. I think we can say that.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
But I don't want to take away from his ability, because I think that guy's a really good football coach. And I mean, there's a lot of good football coaches. Like, let's go to Ohio State. Ohio State's schedule's not very good. Okay. But I'm going to say this to you. Ryan Day's an elite football coach and has done a fabulous job of managing talent, identifying the right people to put in the right spots. And that's been done. So they're a really good football team. They're going to match up to anybody. And it's because their program's really good, and they've done a really good job managing getting the right talent through the portal, through NIL, and they have the resourcing and everything else. So even if their schedule this particular year was lesser or tougher, it's all going to, teams like that are going to find a way, I guess would be my point. Like, does anybody really doubt that if Nick Saban or Urban Meyer showed back up to coach, that those teams that they're coaching wouldn't win? No, they're going to win. Why? Because they're really good coaches. So they'll find a way to maximize the system because they're really good at what they do. Don't anybody forget that.
Yeah, and I mean, and all those points well taken, right? Like you said, Indiana, Kurt Cignetti, I have a lot of respect for what he's done in Indiana and the success that they have had. They've also had favorable schedules the last 2 years, and they went in the portal and they got the quarterback. Like you said, go find the guy, and they got Mendoza from Cal. So, we are seeing that. Now, there's a few different places that I could go to, one of them being the college football playoff first round. First round of the college football playoff. Now, they've adjusted the college football playoff. Last year was the first 12-team playoff, and I was on site on location for every round, and I thank God for that, and I thank all the wonderful opportunities that I had and the wonderful people. I thank the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl and the Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic, and obviously the College Football Playoff Committee and the team and the national championship and everybody that worked down in Atlanta. And I thank Penn State because I got to go there for SMU at Penn State. Every home team won. And I had a conversation last year about, I thought Tennessee arguably by a hair had an argument's case to be the 8 seed and Ohio State be the 9 seed. Now, Ohio State was the 8 seed, Tennessee was the 9 seed, Ohio State played at home. Ohio State won a national championship. I'm not taking that away from them. I was there. I was at the Texas-Ohio State game. I was at the national championship. But if Ohio State played on the road at Tennessee and that 8-9 was flipped, does Ohio State even get out of that first round game? So my question to you, Steve, is how fan bases are. You know how electrifying it is. I couldn't hear a dang thing at Penn State inside of glass at the top of the stadium in the press box. I couldn't hear. So I know Kevin Jennings couldn't hear on the field. So when we look at the college football playoff and we look at the teams that play in the first round, I look at if you have a home matchup, I don't think it's going to be a fluke or a one-hit wonder thing that the home team wins. So I'd love to get your thoughts on that because we say it comes down to this, that, and the other when we're talking about different things. But when it comes to the college football playoff, it doesn't just matter that you get in. It matters what seed you are because it matters if you're playing at home or not. And I'd love to get your take on that because having an extra home game, especially for a Notre Dame or a Penn State that's going to throw 100,000 people at you. The argument of Ohio State playing on the road last year in the first round. I'd love to get your take on that first round and when you get seated at home.
Yeah, absolutely no question that home field advantage matters. And everybody, it's like that in the NFL. It's like that everywhere. You want home field. Home field, gives everybody, even in, you see it across college football, and that people, put out the game odds and everything else. Home field matters. And some of these stadiums are incredible stadiums. it's so hard to go on the road and win in those stadiums. So we're going to go back to the same question again. You're rewarded for your play to get home field advantage, but let's make sure that we reward the right people for the right reasons, because it is an incredible advantage. It's an incredible advantage to have a bye in the first round. It's an incredible advantage to then have home field advantage. I mean, these are, yes, I mean, and it makes all the difference in the world. And, that's why these decisions are so critically important, and, they got to be fair.
Yeah. And you've done a lot of work in commentating and covering the ACC. You traveled around to see these teams before the season. Obviously, you've traveled and seen them during the season. The ACC is, when Clemson and Florida State don't play well, the conversation is the ACC is a down conference. Now, I talk all the time about narratives. Whatever narrative you hear at the beginning of the season by talking heads that are out there on certain networks, those narratives seem to haunt teams or help teams. It's what helps Notre Dame because they're always talking highly of them. It's what haunts the ACC because they've been talking low about the ACC for a while. Now, Clemson is not winning, and Florida State's not winning. But Georgia Tech has one loss. Virginia now has two. Pittsburgh in the top 25, and they got game day going to see them. SMU might be the best 3-loss team in the entire country, and Duke is still a player in this thing, and Louisville is, and Miami. At this time, with a few weeks to go, the ACC championship can be any mix of 7 different schools right now. So from covering them, from calling their games, from visiting them, from talking to their coaches and seeing their players, I ask you, who's been in the field, like I have when it comes to the ACC, and done a good hard look at the ACC, what is your assessment of the ACC, fully knowing right now that we have no idea who's going to make the championship game?
Yeah, well, I think the blue bloods of the ACC are down, okay? And that's never good for any league. It would be the same for, if Ohio State and, Michigan were down in the Big Ten. So the blue bloods are down. However, I think there's more competition amongst everybody else has come up, to a degree. And I think the league has really been a quarterback league. I mean, we've got some really good quarterbacks in the ACC. So I think that's why you're seeing this thing, going down to the wire to find out, get a sense of who's going to win the championship. But I think when your blue bloods are down, it's going to hurt your league no matter what. But that doesn't mean that, like some of these other leagues, their upper couple, 3 teams are elite, and then below it's not very good. I've seen that in the ACC in history. But right now, I'd say what should be or thought to be the upper crust of the league is down. Some of the, call it middle, bottom third teams are up. And so it's become very, very competitive. And I think that's a lot to do with the quarterback play. There's a lot of really good quarterback play here. And so it'll be interesting down the home stretch. How many teams does the ACC get in? Well, they're going to get their champion in. That's going to happen. Yeah. And then beyond that, it's hard to know, but there's a lot of parity in the league. And some of these other leagues are top heavy. And so that's just cyclical, and that's just the cycle we're in right now. But I tell you, the ACC is a fun conference to follow and watch. There's a lot of exciting games, and there's a lot of points being scored, and even I just did the Duke Clemson game, and then I did the Clemson Florida State game. These games are very exciting games. Teams playing really, really hard. There's a fair amount of offense and explosive plays and people battling each other, and kind of good football to watch, to be honest with you. So it's exciting in that respect.
Will you play contender pretender with me?
Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm gonna say the name of the ACC teams that are still alive, and I want to get your thoughts. Georgia Tech, contender, pretender.
Contender.
Virginia.
Well, I got to qualify that now.
Yeah.
Because I believe last week they lost their quarterback.
Yeah, Chandler Morris got hurt.
Chandler Morris makes that team go. So I would say I've watched Virginia, and I've been unbelievably impressed with them. I think he is a sensational player, and I think Tony has done a great job with that program. So I would say, to their credit, contender. But without that quarterback, I probably couldn't say that. Okay? But that's true of a lot of teams, I know.
Yeah.
But that's the power and the value of that quarterback spot. So I want to give kudos there to Virginia because they deserve it. But without that quarterback, they're going to be a real different team.
I agree. I fully agree with that answer. Pittsburgh.
Contender.
SMU.
Contender. I want to see, I've had them several times, and I think they have a great program. I love their culture and their team. Yeah. I think if the quarterback's healthy, they can be really. I think the one thing I'd like to see them do better is, and they have run the ball better, but when sometimes you have to be able to run it. But I'm going to say contender.
Okay, Duke.
God, I really like Duke. I liked it when I saw him play Syracuse and I did the game, and when I saw him play Clemson, I walked away from the Clemson game, and I said that might be the best team in the ACC. That was a week ago. I'm saying Duke might be the best team in the ACC.
Yeah.
And then they lost to UConn. And I don't want to disrespect UConn because UConn's playing. I'm going to say this. UConn, that guy, Jim Moore, he might have done the best job in the country this year coaching the football team. I mean, to me, that guy deserves a lot of credit. What he's done, and they took Syracuse to overtime.
Yeah.
I mean, so anyways, I'm off track with you. I hate when people do what I'm doing. You ask me an answer, and I don't give you the correct answer. But right now, I think there'll be a contender in the ACC, but I don't know what the heck just happened. So I'm bolo punched by it.
Okay. And much respect to Joe Fagnano and the work that he's done as well. We talk about quarterbacks, UConn. Louisville, contender, pretender.
I don't know. Maybe pretender.
Miami.
I mean, talented, but pretender.
Okay. And now I'm gonna just to finish it off here. I'm gonna do a little national approach. Okay, of where the college football playoff rankings have people. So, Ohio State, contender, pretender.
Contender.
Indiana.
I mean, contender.
Okay, there's a pause. Texas A&M.
Contender.
Alabama.
Contender.
Georgia.
Good team.
Huh?
But if we're saying contender being in the playoffs, I'm not sure about that now.
Okay. So you're saying pretender for Georgia. Okay.
I hate that word because they're really a good team. But I mean, pretender to me means not good team. But in terms of meaning, are they going to make it in the big things? Are they going to win the conference or go to the – probably not.
Ole Miss.
I don't know. They get a lot of publicity and a lot of positive talk, and they haven't won anything. But they look like a contender, but we'll see.
Oregon.
A contender.
Okay. Oklahoma.
I guess it's the same conversation as Georgia. I mean, Are they really going to be there in the end? Probably not.
I guess the question is, if you had one more team to take of these three that I'm going to give you, do you take Texas, Oklahoma, or Notre Dame?
Oh, God, that's a hard question. Oh, my gosh.
But I've had to deal with this.
Double talk. I feel like I'm going to double talk you again. Okay. Give me the three teams one more time.
Texas, Oklahoma, and Notre Dame. I've had to do this. I've given myself the scenarios, and I've had to systematically figure it out. And
I'm taking Notre Dame.
Okay.
And I just double talked you. Everything I said today.
Everything you said.
Because I think that my objection was where they got rated in the initial. Not that I didn't think they had a chance to be a good team. I just didn't. But if I had to say, you just said to me, like, well, I don't know. You already said to me. I probably didn't listen. But these are the three teams. What team would you think is the best of these three teams? I kind of half think Notre Dame might be. Now, I know that's crazy. I'm not saying what deserves to be ranked now. You didn't ask me that, I don't think.
Yeah.
You said of the three teams.
Who would you take? If you had one more college football playoff spot, one more at-large bid, one. That's it. Texas, Oklahoma, Notre Dame.
I'm not a big Texas guy right now, although they seem to be getting better. All right. You're pressing me. This is a really good question. There's a lot to it. Because I have some built-in biases from watching football this season. Like, I did not like Texas at all this season. Although as of late they seem to be playing better, but I don't think they're good enough up front on the offensive line. So I'm put them out of the pile for me. Okay. Oklahoma, I haven't really seen them, and I know the quarterback got hurt and he's back. I think Notre Dame has a really good run game, good young quarterback. I think defensively they're not quite as good as they were a year ago. If they played head-to-head, who would win that game? Really good question, because I haven't seen the quarterback play back from his injury. Maybe Oklahoma, maybe, but they haven't really shown me when it's really all on the line they're going to do it. I think Notre Dame might be more of a consistent deal.
But I would say Texas beat Oklahoma head-to-head, and
I know
they've had tougher schedules than Notre Dame and won games. You homer Steve Addazio.
Oh, my God. See, you're probably right. You know what it is? It's like, but see, I don't think any of those teams should be involved. See, this is my whole point.
Right.
Like, quite honestly, for me, I think the playoffs are too large, and this is what happens. This is exactly what happens. Like you said to me, Ohio State, contender. Texas A&M, contender. You know what I mean? I mean, like, I didn't blink. I didn't hesitate. Because those, there's more. But those are the elite teams out there. I even said Indiana, like you. I don't know where they should have been ranked, but they're certainly contender. It's like we didn't hesitate. It's when you get down in those other lower ranked and you start having this debate. And that's what kind of pains me a little bit, because that team that you're angsting over could get on a run with the right schedule or the right matchup, and they could find themselves going deep in the thing and potentially, who knows, winning it and say, oh, that's great, I guess. But you're right. I will say this. I'm giving kudos to you. You're right about Texas from an intelligent standpoint. Everything you said is highly accurate. I just don't think they're good enough up front on offense. I think it's all line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
And I think that's what bothers me. But if you pull that away, and do I have a little bias? Probably. Because I like the toughness of the Notre Dame team and stuff like that. And although I think their defense isn't quite where it needs to be. So those are great. This is great debate, and I'm a pretty convicted guy about things. Yeah. But those particular teams you plucked to me right there, I don't have a conviction about any one of them, to be honest with you.
Well, and that's what makes the world go around. See, when I'm sitting here doing my top 25 rankings, people love me, and then other people are throwing hate at me, but it's very difficult to figure out because you're literally sitting here going like, well, why is this one, but then this one should be, but then people are going to question why I put that team in, but they have better wins, but this team beat that team and they're still under them in the rankings, which I won't agree with stuff like Texas being below Oklahoma would they have the same record. And they played each other.
No, you're right. You're right about that. I'm going to tell you right now, you are right about that, and 100%. And I haven't followed all that close enough to know all the ins and outs of that. But I will say this to you: who cares? See, like to me, I care about I really care about the top 5 teams.
Yeah.
And then maybe you could push me to care about the top 10 teams, and then after that, to me, sometimes it starts to be a lot of conversation about like who's number 15, 16, 17, 18. I guess. I mean, when I was coaching and you're involved, you probably care. But like right now, I want to know who are the top elite teams in college football right now. And I want those teams to play each other.
Yeah.
And, that's kind of where I am. And I probably wouldn't put any of the teams you mentioned up in that category. Not to mean that they might not edge their way there. And I think, you did a great job selling me that I thought Texas I've watched them a couple of times early in the season, and I've been totally unimpressed with them. But, in fairness, I have not watched them. I didn't see, them play Oklahoma. And, so everybody has a chance to grow, and maybe they've grown to the point where they deserve better than what I said. And that's very fair.
Yeah, just like I think Vanderbilt deserves to be in the conversation, arguably over Notre Dame. So, I mean, there's a lot to be said in all this stuff, and Texas is wildly inconsistent this year. Oklahoma's more consistent. So that's why I think, it's easier to knee-jerk say Oklahoma. But Steve Addazio here with us, college football analyst for ESPN, commentator on the ACC Network, talking all things college football. Steve, I will have you back soon because we need to do more. We talked about a million things, but there was so much more to go into, and I'll let you put me on the hot seat. So the next time we talk within the next couple weeks, you prepare some scenarios for me, and then watch me Wile E. Coyote this thing. But I appreciate you as always.
Yeah, because I definitely Wile E. Coyote it, that's for sure. Well, good fun, Dan. Appreciate you having me on, brother.
Of course. I'll talk with you soon.
Yeah.
See you. That coming from Steve Addazio one more time here. It's a difficult conversation to have, folks. It's always not easy to do this job. That's why you got to give credit to the College Football Playoff Committee. You got to give credit to, those of us in the media, whether people like our decisions or not. I do my homework, okay? I don't have a hate for any conference, any team, anybody out there. I'm simply trying to make the best decision that I can and trying to be unbiased with that. But there's fan bases. So you pick one team over another team, then that fan base gets mad at you, or the other fan base loves you, this one hates you, and then they might flip the next week. But the reality of it all is people like to complain, right? I put out this team's not in the top whatever in the country, I get hate mail. The next week I put them in the top 2 in the country, no responses. So, some people just like to complain. And that's reality. We have Yanniah Boyd here with us, and Yanniah here in the queue, and we're going to bring her in. We appreciate her patience here this morning as we were finishing up a college football conversation that you never really finish up because it's very difficult to have. So Yanniah Boyd here with us of the Binghamton Bearcats women's basketball team. I was just on site on location to watch this team win another game, start off the season with some positive play and just put it on their opponents that they had. So Yanniah, happy to have you here for the first time ever. Happy to cover Binghamton of many, many years. So welcome to the broadcast. How are you this morning?
Thank you. I'm good. Just had a 8 a.m. and ready to start practice at 12:30. Oh, well, we have left at 11:30. So, and we have our first snowfall up here. So,
the crazy thing is, so I'm an hour north of you right now in the Syracuse area. And I heard that snow may be coming by Monday, but of course, you forget about it. You're not paying attention. You're going about your life. And I went to let my dog out this morning, and I looked outside and I went, oh, so this is here now. So, I mean, are you prepared for the snow, Yanniah?
I feel like after being here for like 3 years, it's like I'm used to it now. Back in Maryland, we would get snow, but not like a lot like how we do upstate. So I'm just ready for the cold winter and to be bundled up.
Well, the good thing is that you play inside in a controlled environment. You picked the right sport for that. So yeah. Happy to be here with you. And like you talked about being from Maryland, and I want to start there. What if somebody had never been to your hometown and they had never experienced life where you're from, and they're saying, hey, just paint me a picture. I'm going to go visit there, on Tuesday, and I just want to get a full feel for everything that Frederick, Maryland's going to give me. What would you say?
Frederick's, it's pretty calm. Like, a lot of people do come to Frederick for our downtown. It's like a big tourist spot, apparently. I found that out a few years ago.
Okay.
Um, a lot of good food spots, pretty sights. Like, there's a lot of places to walk and hike. Sugarloaf Mountain is probably like 30 minutes out. That's where a lot of people like to hike, as well as Catoctin Mountain, I want to say. Um, Honestly, like not too much. But during like sports seasons, football is big in high school. Um, Basketball, a lot of people show up to like the Frederick High games and all that, but nothing crazy to expect going to Frederick on a Tuesday.
So for you coming to Binghamton, how did that journey come about that you leave not too far away in the Northeast to travel further north to have more snow? So why did you make that decision?
So I started getting recruited by Binghamton my junior year of high school under the previous coaching staff. Um, so I'd known, oh no, I'm kidding, my freshman year of high school. So I'd known them for a long time. They were always at every game, they showed a lot of love. And I visited my junior year of high school. And I kind of just like knew in that moment, like, I tell everybody I get laughs, but growing up in Disney, like you watch all those movies and like, oh, like the college setting. And to me, once I stepped on campus, I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm in a Disney movie. So it just felt right. Like everyone says, like, you know what you know. And like I knew, like I just felt that spark. I fell in love with the gym. So it was just like, go for it.
You say you grew up with Disney movies. I did as well. And you mentioned the fact that when you were on campus at Binghamton, it just felt like a Disney movie. So what is it about Binghamton that feels like High School Musical? Because that connects to basketball. So I have to ask that question.
Yeah, I think it's just like the campus. Like it's not too big of a campus, but it's not too small. And there's just a lot of scenery, especially during fall. It's my favorite time, seeing all like the leaves change colors and you see everyone walk in the quad, and it's just like a different person every day. Like you're not going to see the same person. There's always something going on, and it's just like that's what you grew up thinking college would be like.
Okay.
So then once you got here, it's like, yeah, like this is what it's supposed to be and all that. So also like the sun when it's shining, it makes everything feel so bright. Again, I guess it's just like I can't even like really put it into words. It just feels like Disney to me at times.
So two-part question with that.
Okay.
Has anyone broken out into song while dribbling at practice? Because that's very High School Musical. And what can you say to that side of it? You know, being on the court, because you said you fell in love with the court, and I love the event center at Binghamton. So what is it, you know, when you're looking at the event center and where you practice or where you played, to go into that a little bit deeper, and who has done their best High School Musical impression of breaking into song while dribbling in practice?
Okay. Answers to the first part. I'm a big like green person. I like green. So when I had went into the gym and seen the green and like the bleachers down and it just like the arena feel, that's what got me like, yeah, like this is nice. Like I can imagine playing here, even just like shooting around by myself, listening to music. I always like thought of that after I committed, like when I'm gonna work out and all that stuff. The fans, and they make it great to play here. It's just a really good environment. So that all around just puts everything together. And to the second part of your question, we actually have some pretty good singers on the team. There's always a time where like out of nowhere someone starts singing, just like based off like hearing a word. I know I do it all the time.
Okay.
I hear a word and then I think of a song. We do a cappella sometimes before practice. I don't know if you've seen Pitch Perfect. We do riff-offs. That's my teammate Leah Middleton's favorite thing to do if you ask her.
Okay. Yeah, I have seen it.
So it's fun doing. We do that on the bus, riff-offs, just singing, because you know you gotta pass time. So we definitely like to show off who can sing and who might be able to stop playing basketball and pursue their singing career.
So many things that I can connect with on you on this. So I'm a Disney kid. I love Pitch Perfect. I also sing. So I'm living in this whole world that you're in right now. So if you were to have a riff off right now, who would you choose to face? If it was like, we're going to Pitch Perfect, right? We're spinning the wheel and there's a topic. What person on your team would you face in round one of the riff off? And what topic of music would you pick?
Okay, topic I'm gonna go with R&B. That's
Okay.
my strong suit. And then go against I think I'm gonna go with Leah Middleton just because like we can get competitive with it. So it's just like, okay, you go and I go and it keeps on going for a while.
So do you trust? I mean, are you quick on your feet that if they say, you gotta match pitch and you gotta keep this beat from song to song, or you have to put yourself in a situation where whatever word they start with, you have to make sure that is the first word you start with. Are you quick on the trigger to not only sing, but to be able to do what they do in the movie, which is literally go back and forth and be able to match each other when it comes to, okay, they ended it with the word time, so now I have to start this song with time.
That's how we play it, so I'd say so.
Okay.
I wouldn't say it's up to par with how they do it in the movie though, but we're up there when we do it. We're pretty close, so we'll take it.
Now I've known her for a long time since she became the head coach at Lemoyne and now the head coach at Binghamton. Can you ever get Miss Mary Grimes to riff off with you?
Um, that will be a tough one. But there's some things that she said she wouldn't do, like TikToks that we got her to do. So I think if we cross our fingers and really, really convince her to do it, I think she'll do it. So maybe we'll get her to like let's on a 10-hour bus ride to Maine. Maybe just maybe she'll come sit with us real quick and play one round.
Yeah. Sometimes you get people when they're tired, and
Mhm.
that's how you kind of break the seal on some of the things that maybe that they wouldn't do. You've been saying Disney, you've said Disney a bunch of times. I don't like what Disney has become, but I like what Disney used to be.
Mhm.
So, what about Disney did you grow up loving that you still love? Like a movie or a character or something you can go right back to?
Man, that's a really tough question. And it's crazy because I feel like we were just like talking about this like old Disney movies that we used to watch. Man, there's just so many to pick from, but like the first thing that comes to mind is Let It Shine. And I think it's like for the music. So we play that in practice and we all start singing and who does what and who does it better. So I'd say that movie, um, what shows, man, like all the shows, like Jesse and um Dog with a Blog. Again, there's so many. I feel like during the time that I grew up, all like the prime shows were coming out
Yeah.
on Disney. So it's just like I can't just pick one.
Yeah. And there was cartoons back in the day
Yeah.
that people forget about, like
Right.
Bonkers and Darkwing Duck and
Mhm.
all that good stuff. So make sure you check that out. Have you been to Disney or no?
Yes, I've been, I want to say maybe 3 times. Yeah, I think the last time I went was in middle school. My dad really does want to go back, so maybe we'll get that planned out soon, with my family. But we love going to Disney. We love Universal. It's just a lot of fun. A lot of good family memories that we have down there.
What's your dad's first name?
Marcus.
So, Marcus, I'm talking to you. If you are watching this live or on playback, okay, Yanniah started this broadcast off today talking about Disney. The toughest question that she says I've asked her up to this point was about Disney. So do right by your daughter and bring her back to Disney, please, and make sure you do it soon. And hopefully we can get all this, government shutdown and airline stuff so people can travel. So here's a question. What do you remember of Disney? Walt Disney World, I'm guessing, down in Orlando. So what do you remember about Disney? And what's the first thing you would do? Like if Pops calls you up today and says, we're going April 15th, then like what's the first thing on your mind? Like, I have to do this when I get there.
And we're talking about Disney, not Universal, right?
We're talking about Disney, yeah.
Disney. Okay, Disney. First thing that came to mind was the Disney Castle.
Okay.
I remember my sister and I, we were dressed up in our dresses. I was Aurora, she was Belle. And we got to walk there and meet all the princesses and just give them hugs and all that. I wouldn't dress up now, but it'd be nice to just like re-experience that moment and be like, oh my gosh, like we were there and see all the other little girls like experiencing what we got to experience and seeing them dressed up. I think that's adorable.
Yeah, okay. I respect that. I can appreciate that. And just so you know, there's people that love the princess world far beyond. It's funny because I'm a Pluto fan. And so, you know, there's all these kids there's all these parents in line, all these little kids. And then it gets to me and they look at you, you know, like, okay, who's up next? Like, do you have a son? And I'm like, no, this is for me. This is my moment to hang out with Pluto for a second. But yeah, I mean, listen, it fans the flame of always keeping your kid spirit. So to the bigger kind of message of that, how do you keep your kid's spirit when you're out there? As you grow as a young woman in society, as you're doing your thing, you're a D1 player, you're thinking about what you want to do for your future in life. How do you keep that kid spirit going?
I guess just like going back to what we were talking about with cartoons, like my sister and I, we watched so many cartoons, like Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network, all the old ones. Thanks for like even like stuff my dad and mom used to watch. They showed us all those. So I feel like just going back and watching those just like keeps me feeling young, even though I feel like I can still say I'm young. Sometimes I'll just put SpongeBob on just to do it, or like other Cartoon Network shows. But they also like fuel my sense of humor, and I think that's like I have a good sense of humor, but it's also sarcastic at the same time. So just that and reminiscing and scrolling on TikTok and seeing like old like nostalgia videos, like all the toys you used to play with, and it's just all that. So, and you know, just not being so serious all the time, like being able to be laid back and oh yeah, let's go play with some puppies or color and all that stuff. So just being free spirited, free mind, all that.
Yeah, and I can respect that. You said you have sarcasm, which I also have. Do you think that this world in 2025 understands sarcasm, or do you think that they need a crash course in it?
I think that some people need a crash course on it. I guess, and it also depends on like who you're being sarcastic with, because a lot of people, some don't understand. So like if I could like tell a joke to some people and it's just like, oh, like I wasn't being serious, I was being like sarcastic, and it's just like, oh, well, they didn't get it. But then like I can go to someone else and they understand it right away.
Yeah.
But I can even tell if, like some of my professors, like I have a professor, he's sarcastic, and like he tells jokes. I'm like, why is no one else laughing? Like it was funny, you didn't understand the joke. So yeah, I think there should be a crash course required for some people. Because I feel like if you get sarcastic humor, like you'll start to laugh a lot more.
Yeah, I think people need to lighten up. I think this country's so angry because we don't laugh enough. So
Yes.
Yanniah Boyd here with me of the Binghamton women's basketball team 2025-26 season. I know it's early on in the season here, and like I said, I just had the opportunity to see the team against Bloomsburg and got to speak with your teammates and have an opportunity to spend some time with other players on the team as well as head coach Mary Grimes. What is it about the makeup of this team that makes you believe that you can be a force this year, that you can be effective in the America East? What is it about the roster that you have, the talent that you have, and the leadership that you have that makes you believe like, hey, yeah, we're early in this season, but I can see the fruits of our labor with this team?
Well, starting with our newcomers, they're young. We have 6 freshmen and a transfer who she's my age. But they're young and they're so hungry and fearless. And I could tell from summer, like when we all first came, they want it. They're always willing to listen and learn, always asking questions. So I think having that want factor is what's going to help take us so far, especially with them, because, we're playing fast, everyone's playing. So it's just going to be really important for us to, again, have that will, that want, that heart to be able to go out there and get what we want, because we all want the same goal. And then with our returners, be at 7. So given what we had from last year, learning Coach Grimes' system since she was new, and our experiences, we went 15-15, and having a couple like heartbreak losses, especially like the one against Maine at Maine, and then obviously losing to Bryant first round, being able to take that feeling from last year, knowing what we could have done, and using that to fuel our flame for this year, and what to expect and what coach wants out of us is also going to take us together. So putting those two, I think that's really going to help us. And our returners, great leaders. Again, everyone's helping the freshmen out, all the newcomers, and leading the way, showing by example, or even with vocally. So I think everyone is on the same page, like especially this year, because a lot of people can say that our whole team's on the same page, but it's not necessarily shown. But right now, and I've seen it again since summer, like everyone's hungry and we want it really bad, and that's all we keep talking about it. So I think we're definitely gonna go out and get it. And I think with our start to the season, like we're all really amped up and know what we can do. So we're just excited to continue doing that.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, that belief that you have in yourselves, I mean, you need that, right? Because you're going to have outside noise no matter what. You could be a really good team and you go on the road and they're going to scream at you because you're not wearing their colors and you don't have their name across your chest. So, that's going to happen. What have you done in life to shut out the outside noise, to, if it's great, to say, okay, you know what? That's nice that people are complimenting me, but I'm not going to boost my ego here. And if it's bad, to say, okay, well, I'm not going to lose sleep over it. So how have you, because people talk about outside noise, like just keep the negative out, but there's also the reality of like when people are showing you love. I mean, we know that outside noise does that, right? It goes up and down. They love you on Monday, they hate you on Tuesday, they want to be at your game on Wednesday. So what have you done in your life to shut that out and to lock in on who you are and what you're about and following your dreams regardless of if it's positive or negative that you get?
I think a big part of me being how I am now, like being able to shut things out, is my parents. Like my parents aren't like the typical like congratulate after every play or every good game. Like they keep it real, like they'll keep it straight. Like, yeah, like you had a good game, but like we got to work on this or something. I think them being so real with my sister and I was something that help mold us into the players we are today, being able to like take constructive criticism and not needing compliments, like not needing good job after everything. And then like during high school, I remember my freshman year, we had I forgot what it was called. It was like a mental health guy. He came around and like talked to us about having strong mindsets and what that exactly means to have such a mindset that way. And I think I just took that with me all the way throughout anywhere I played. Something that just built up till college. And again, like you have those fans, and sometimes they have nice things to say, sometimes they don't. But honestly, it's just like you have to be able to let it go through one year after the other and not even allow it to come in and just keep playing, because at the end of the day, everything that matters is what's on the court. And like you said, everything around it is outside noise. And I also think it just comes with age as well. So just being strong-minded, mentally strong, and being able to push past words that don't mean anything, because at the end of the day, you can't let it affect what you're doing on the court.
Yeah, and I love that. Like you said, I mean, all those words don't affect the court, right? They don't affect it unless you let it. So when you look at your game and you look at your come up when it comes to basketball, this is a sport that I love dearly. It's one of the only things I could shut my brain off and do to this day. I love getting in the gym at Game Point Sports Complex here in East Syracuse, and just I don't have to think about a thing. You just put a ball in my hand and I'm in there. 6 hours could go by or 10 minutes. It's going to feel the same to me. So why did you fall in love with basketball? What is it about the sport that just played to your heartstrings, so to speak?
I was always surrounded by basketball. Like my dad played basketball, football. Growing up, all my uncles did, cousins. But it was really my sister. She's my older sister. She's my role model. Um, she started playing, I want to say in fourth grade, and I was like a cheerleader. I was like, no, I don't want to play basketball. Like, I don't want to do that. But then I want to say it was like middle school, sixth grade. It was like, man, like Ness, like she's killing it out there, like, and I want to be like her, like that's my older sister and all that. So I was like, Dad, like I want to play basketball, and he was like, well, like if you want to do it, we're gonna do it for real, like it's serious and all that.
Yeah.
So then from there, it was just like, yeah, like it's go time, and like I don't know, it was just automatic, like the automatic love for the game, like the rush, the adrenaline of being on the court. Um, but I'd say it got more serious in eighth grade after my parents didn't let me play AAU in seventh grade because they didn't think I was taking it serious. So then I felt like I understood that feeling of, well, I don't want to be taken not seriously. Like I want to do this and all that. So once they realized that, I was like, yeah, like we're doing it for real. Eighth grade, started playing AAU, and I feel that's where my game kind of like changed a little bit.
Okay.
Like that competitive level increased in me. And then going to high school was just a whole nother game changer. So it's just fun. Like a lot of people can fall out of love playing basketball for so long, and I even started late. But like, there's always something new every day, and it's just like something you always look forward to.
Yeah, you said your parents didn't know if you were as serious about it, and you were like, "Nah, we're gonna do this." How did you like for you to hear from your parents? Like, I don't really know if this is the road you're gonna go down. Like, I don't know if we see this for you, and you had
Mhm.
to fight back, and you said, "No,
Yeah.
bro, we're doing it." So, how did you show that, and how were you so strong in your conviction to know, like, nah, mom and dad, like this is me. This is where I want to be.
Yeah. So that eighth grade middle school season, I hit my growth spurt, like a little growth spurt, but and then I get you could tell in my game, I guess, like I wanted like always asking like to work out, going out by myself and all that stuff. And I had a good year, like a really good year and all that. My sister played in the AU program down in Maryland called Germantown Lady Panthers. And I was like, Dad, like I want to try out all that stuff. Because it was a big program, still is. Um, and he's like, okay, and he's just like, we're gonna do it. And then they had two eighth grade teams, the A team, the B team, and afterwards, like, coach, he told my dad like we want her on the A team, and that's when I was like, I did it. Like, I showed to my parents like I'm taking it serious. I want it. I want it so bad. And then like I remember my dad saying like you did like coming out to me afterwards like you did it and all that stuff. And that's just like a memory that sits in my head and all that. Yeah, I just like grit, will, talking to my sister about it too. She was always there. That's the person I can always talk to about anything basketball related. Um, but again, it just goes back to like that want, that grit feeling in my heart.
Yeah, for you, I mean, I think we all have that moment, right? With even those that love us the most, where we have to step out and say, like, this is what I believe in.
Mhm.
So there's a lot of strength in that. Have you always had that inner strength? Have you always listened to yourself, so to speak?
I would like to say so. Honestly, like there's times when anyone could be like, oh, like not going with their gut, but I feel like I've always had like a good gut feeling going with my heart and following that. So yes, to answer your question, I would say yes.
Okay, fair enough. So here with Yanniah Boyd of this Binghamton Bearcats women's basketball program inside the 2025-26 season. We're here inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios and in our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with Binghamton University and your Bearcats. So Janiyah, before we play rapid fire and get to have some fun in that world. Who on your we're going to do a who on your team and I'm going to give you a bunch of scenarios. So, who on your team would you trust to be the person on your back jumping out of an airplane pulling the chute for the both of you?
Um, oh, goodness gracious. I'm gonna go with Abby Miser. Miser, sorry. Abby Miser. I can trust Abby to pull the parachute.
Okay. Who on your team do you believe would not be able to talk their way out of a parking ticket if you're walking up to your car and there's somebody standing there who's not the smooth talker?
Bella Pucci.
who is the who is the person that you would go on stage nationally and think would be your best competition for your pitch perfect riff off?
Oh, Kaya Good.
Kind of good. Okay. Who on your team would you want to surprise with a Disney trip if you could only take one teammate?
Um, Kendall Bennett.
Kendall Bennett. Okay. And last one. Who on your team do you believe has the best chance of becoming the president of the United States?
Um, um, that was a really tough question. I'm gonna have to go with um, man, I'm running through scenarios in my head quickly. Megan Casey.
Megan Casey. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Fair enough. So before we get into rapid fire, for you, like you said, Binghamton just felt right. It felt like a Disney movie. The way the light hit, your favorite color is green. That's also my favorite color. So I can fully understand and rock with that. I also went to a school that had a lot of green in it, and it was only an hour away from Binghamton because I got recruited D3, and I was just happy that I got a phone call. So I look back at those moments, and I can appreciate the moments for you in your journey to Binghamton. If you were to become a recruiter, and Mary Grimes said, I'm going to hire you to be my recruiting coordinator, what would you tell people about Binghamton University, having experienced it to a certain extent now? You have more time to go, but in the classroom, on campus, on the court, as a student athlete, if somebody said, you're the recruiter, Mary sent you out there, what would you say about Binghamton?
I would say that Binghamton isn't easy, but like if you're willing to work for it and knowing if I'm talking to someone who's a hard worker, like you'll shine and be excellent here. In the classroom, you're gonna get the most out of it. You know, the academics is really superior here at Binghamton. Everyone talks about it, everyone takes it seriously. The professors are very accommodating with everything, they're very supportive. Um, and especially once you find like that major for you, you're gonna enjoy it a lot. There's so many opportunities that come out of it. And on the court, you're gonna work, you're gonna have fun. There's high expectations,
Okay.
but again, like being recruited here, I feel like Coach Grimes recruits people who also hold themselves to higher standards, so that just goes together well. Um, and again, you're just gonna love it. You're gonna fall in love with the gym as soon as you've seen it. Even the campus, the people around, it's very family oriented. Everyone in the event center You walk past, everyone says hi. Always a smile on people's faces. So, and you'll feel safe. It's like a home away from home. So to have that second family here while your other family, your first family's back home, you won't have to worry about missing it so much.
Perfect. Sign you up. So that's, I mean, that was a great answer. Great way to say it, Yanniah. So let's play some rapid fire. You and I will go back and forth one for one. You can ask me any topic, any question. I have to answer it. We're only live on audio and video to the world. So people will see what we say. But you get the first question. What do you got?
Marvel or DC? Marvel or DC?
Marvel. I think DC's getting better with James Gunn, but I'm going to say Marvel because I am a Spider-Man fan, and I got to be in the Amazing Spider-Man 2 in the chase scene, so I'm all about Marvel. I got to say Marvel.
Yes.
My question back to you. All right, so let's stick with it. You can snap your fingers, and you can make yourself any Marvel hero. Who do you become, and why?
Um, Doctor Strange,
Okay.
because I think just like him being able to control time and all the Sorcerer Supreme stuff and what he does with his hands, I don't know. That's what got me caught on to him. Like, that's cool. So I would do that. I feel like there's so much to do with it and just being able to cast spells. Like, who wouldn't want to stop time the whole world or put themselves in the mirror dimension and all that? So yeah, Doctor Strange. That's a good one.
All right. I respect it. I respect that a lot. What's your next question for me?
Um, Chicago style pizza or New York style pizza?
New York style pizza all day. So, all day. And Syracuse is so underappreciated by people that don't live here. They're like, it's New York City. And I'm like, no, man. A lot of people came over from Ellis Island and they came to upstate New York and they didn't all just go to New York City. So, there's a lot of good pizza here. I'm very, very spoiled. I just had some yesterday from two different places. So, yeah, I'm gonna say New York style all day. I don't know that other style. I've had Chicago deep dish before, but it's not pizza. It's like a pizza pot pie. It's weird. But
Yeah.
yeah. My question back to you, Yanniah. I'm gonna have to adopt you into my family because you and I have everything in common. So you're just gonna have to come to Thanksgiving dinner and hang out. So let's bring. What's your mom's name? Because I already mentioned Marcus. What's mom's name?
Isira.
Yasira.
Yes.
So Yasira, we love you too. Make sure you get on Marcus to bring your family down to Disney. So, but my question back to you is, man, this is fun for me because it's like living in my own brain but hearing somebody else say it. So let's see if I can get this one. I have my own sandwich and I have my own sundae in Syracuse. If you were to create the Yanniah Boyd special, what would that dish be and why?
Oh goodness. Like anything?
Anything.
Um, I would, man, that is a really tough one. And it's
Anything.
crazy because I eat so much I can't even think about anything. Shania Boyd special.
The Yanniah Boyd special.
It would probably maybe like some type of cheesecake.
Okay. Any
Ah,
specific flavor or
it had to be like honestly like original, but probably with like a bunch of berries on it, like that tart flavor. Oh man, I don't even know. You stumped me on that one. I kind of just said something. That was the only thing that popped up.
Well, when you said cheesecake and I said what on it, my head said berries, you said berries. So congratulations, Yanniah. You and I both have the same brain still. What is your final question for me today?
Um, okay. If you could pick one WNBA player and one NBA player
Hmm.
to build a 3v3 team with, who are you gonna pick?
Right now,
Actively playing.
actively playing. Steph Curry, because I love him. And, oh my goodness, there's two people that I always come down to for the WNBA. Because one of them's from my hometown, and she's like one of the greatest ever. 4 championships in 4 years. I think she was a 4-time MVP, #1 overall pick, just won a championship with the Liberty. That's Breanna Stewart. But then there's also Caitlin Clark. Well, you know what? So if I got Steph for the shooting, then I'm gonna take Bree, and I'm gonna take Bree to be my all around. So I'm gonna take Bree and Steph. That's my 3v3. Yeah, we're winning everything. So my question back to you. See, if it was all-time WNBA, then I got Cheryl Swoops, I got Lisa Leslie, I got Rebecca Lobo. Like, there's a dynasty team, Diana Taurasi. So, okay, my question back to you, my final question for you. All right. I want to go somewhere we haven't gone. Okay. So, you talked about watching cartoons. You can jump into the world of any one of your favorite cartoons. What world would you live in? Like if you, like, God said to you, I will grant you any world you want. Like, I will put you there, my child, but you have to live there for the rest of your life. What cartoon world would you live in for the rest of your life?
Okay. I'm gonna have to go with. Oh, this is a really tough one. I'm in between two.
Okay.
Oh, no, I'm not. Hold on. Okay. I'm gonna go with the Jetsons. Only for like the futuristic vibe and like the flying cars and all that stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with that.
Okay. Well, allegedly, there's a Jetson movie that might be coming out soon. So there's something to think about with that. For Yanniah Boyd, myself, Dan Tortora, this has been a Bearcat Breakroom inside our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with Binghamton University inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios, Binghamton women's basketball. You can go and see them at the Event Center throughout the 2025-26 season. You can also go and see them on the road. Yanniah, this is our first conversation. But the next time I'm at a game, I'm just going to give you like a simple salute because you and I have the same brain. So shout out to being one of my favorite people on the team. Don't tell nobody. But I appreciate the time and many thanks for you taking it this morning. And God bless with everything that you got going forward. And I'll look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Take care.
All right, you too.
Thanks. That coming from Yanniah Boyd one more time here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. See, these are the moments. See, that's real. That's live, and that's real. When you talk to someone who you haven't had on the show before, right? You're strangers to each other because, you know, we work with every sport at Binghamton University, and we try to get on as many student athletes as we can and coaches, and of course, athletic director Gene Marshall, and we've had alumni come on the show. So we do that with Bryan and Stratton College of Syracuse. We do that with Binghamton University. You know, and obviously we just started that with Onondaga Community College. And for many years, we did that with Lemoyne College. We did it with Alfred University, my alma mater of Marywood University, in this short amount of time with all the schools we've worked with at all different worlds of collegiate athletics. And Yanniah, like, genuinely, people that know me, my mom was probably laughing when she was hearing this, like the color green, Marvel, talking about, you know, she says cheesecake, my head says berries. And so and Disney, starting a conversation off with Binghamton University and never did I ever think that we were going to start with the conversation being about Disney. So shout out to Yanniah Boyd, one of my favorites at Binghamton University. And I love that. I also love, I think we might have a reoccurring thing of like who on your team ... to like have that little mini series within the Bearcat coverage, because I think that was a lot of fun, and we're going to definitely be sharing that. So most people got a good answer. Bella Pucci, man, she doesn't think you're talking people out of a ticket. So we'll see. Bella's been on the show too. She was on the show just a few days ago. So shout out to Bella Pucci and Leah Middleton, who I got to talk with after the game. And of course, big time shout out to Mary Grimes and her staff, and to everybody on the team, and having two goods on the team. That's good with an E at the end. So shout out to having the family continue when we talk about the good family at Binghamton. So a lot of great stuff. We'll take a step aside. We haven't taken a break yet, and we will do that here on Wake Up Call because we care about the content. But I also care about you hearing from our wonderful partners, because I can't speak for any other business, but we only work with those that we believe in, appreciate, trust, value, and it's where I spend my money. So here they are.
Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942. And tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge, and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item, available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating at 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and always online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, order anywhere, anytime at maandpaspopcorn.com. Stop in to get a tin at Ma and Pa's on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York to get your half-price refills for the rest of your life. Come to Ma and Pa's for your holiday gift giving for family, friends, employees, and clients. And remember, for fundraising and events, to call 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
This is Jim Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. He kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily, and we bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
Avicolli's restaurant, located on 7839 Oswego Road in Liverpool, New York, has been serving our community for decades. Your place to go for home cooking on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road is just minutes from Liverpool High School. And every single month, Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is on site, on location, with Liverpool sports, student athletes, coaches, and administration telling their stories throughout the year. We look forward to seeing you on site at Avicolli's for their casual pizza side, their fine dining, as well as their bar. And of course, you can order online at myavicollis.com. That's my AVICOLLIS.com. For takeout, delivery, and catering, call 315-622-5100. That's 315-622-5100. Come on into the neighborhood spot Avicolli's, open 7 days a week in Liverpool, New York. K9 Campground Dog Boarding is your home away from home for your furry-loving friends. Open 7 days a week with drop-off and pickup times in the morning and later on in the day and early evening. K9 Campground Dog Boarding is the spot to trust with your dog for short and long-term stays. Call 315-299-4013 for more information. That's 315-299-4013, and go to k9campground.com as well. That's K9, ground.com, where you will find all of the information on their different cabins, which include the classic cabin, executive cabin, grand cabin, and luxury cabin. K9 Campground Dog Boarding, where your dog will have indoor and outdoor areas as well as their own private cabin for any size, any breed, as well as dogs with different needs. Dog parents and dogs alike choose K9 Campground Dog Boarding. Isn't that right, Lily? Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes. And now a message from Myers Creek Brewing Company, with locations at their Cazenovia Farm Brewery, Syracuse Inner Harbor Tap Room, and soon-to-be Lake Placid Tap Room.
Well, I think first and foremost, the Feldmeyer family and our team are extremely passionate about what we do. We care very much about what we do. The Feldmeyer family is always investing. Our taproom management team, our brew management team, our marketing management team, and all of the team members that get after it every day, they leave it on the field. They put their heart and soul into it. I know for a fact that everyone that works at Myers Creek wants to be there, and we want them to be there. You know, we want them to feel good about their job. And again, if you've never been to Myers Creek, especially to the brewery, I mean, I want your eyes to open really big. I want you to see how big of a brand this is. I want you to see where we're going. The sky is the limit, and I feel very proud of that, and I'm very excited about that. When you think of designing a menu for a brewery, it's kind of open to a lot of different interpretations. I mean, you can do American, you can do Asian, you can do Italian, and you just have to find, you know, how that meets that pub style dining experience, that gastropub vibe. And I think it's super fun for us because obviously we know that, you know, everyone in the world's going to sell a pizza or a burger or a french fry, but what can we do to be different? And what can we do to be true to who we are? We are a brewery, you know, a brew pub. So the flavor profiles are kind of all over the place, and I think it's super cool that we have a massive smoker at the brewery in Cazenovia, and we smoke a lot of our products. They're delicious smoked turkey. We have barbecue ribs on Sundays, from a pulled pork sandwich to a chicken wing. And you go to the Inner Harbor and you go to the Kaz location and you'll find similarities in the menu, but also things that are a little different and also kind of fit those different demographics or different communities, and also hopefully just drive you to try every tap room that we have open at some point, because you get a little something different at each one. You know, we understand how hard it is to, you know, work every day and get after it every day, and when you're done at the end of your day, you want to go out and put your feet up in a good ambiance and good environment. So we take pride in that. We make sure that everyone knows that they're very much valued to us.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We appreciate you being here, hanging out inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Great Lakes Honda City, coming to you on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. They're open for sales and service Monday through Saturday, so make sure you go and visit them. You can get a sneak peek of all things Great Lakes Honda City related, all that wonderful inventory to buy and lease, and they have new and used vehicles catch them on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard. And online right now, you could see them 24/7 by going to GreatLakesHondaCity.com. With that being said, here on the broadcast, we have one final piece to do. And because we are off for Veterans Day, that's why we're doing a couple things ahead of time. You know that the Bearcat time for the Bearcat Breakroom and more is every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, but today it was Monday around 10 a.m. Eastern Time, and that is because we are going to be off. And so with being off, we also have another show another piece of the show that we do on Tuesdays, which is called The Ingredients to Success, proudly presented by Avicolli's, and that's coming to you a day early as well, as I will spend Veterans Day with my dog and with my family, and I hope that you have a beautiful Veterans Day. So, today's topic for the Ingredients to Success, proudly presented by Avicolli's, what's your value? I was just talking about this, and this is how God works. I have a plan of what I'm going to do, and then there's that stuff you can't plan for, and He always finds a way to line them both up. Because I was just talking with Yanniah Boyd of the Binghamton Bearcats women's basketball team about inside noise and outside noise, and not listening to outside noise, whether it's positive or negative, whatever it may be, to trust yourself and not, go up and down with the noise that you hear. And that had to do with not letting somebody else determine your value. And now we're talking in today's Ingredients to Success about what's your value, right? Who gets to decide that? Well, God decided a long time ago your value. God decided that you are priceless. And that's something that you need to know. I think if this world knew this collectively, we wouldn't be worried about stuff, and it wouldn't matter what anybody said. Maybe people would stop saying things that are negative. Because I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Nobody that picks on you and makes fun of you and hates on you, none of those people are happy. Happy people don't do that. People that truly are happy and good with themselves and good with God, they don't pick on other people. They just don't. Good, kind, loving, caring people don't just go pick on it. And I'm not saying that, there's not loving, caring people that have moments. But I'm saying that that is not the sign of somebody who's got it all together. Right? If somebody doesn't value you in today's world, man, we get sad. Right? I run a business. Sometimes people don't value, right? You don't make me enough money. I was having a conversation with my mom last night. There was a business that I doubled the money that they paid me, and it wasn't enough for him. And so you realize in those moments it's never going to be enough. And so as a business owner, sometimes people value me about how much money I can make them, how many people watch my show, how many people listen to my show. And when you get caught up in that world, you lose yourself. Not going to lie about it. Not going to lie about anything. You lose yourself. How many people listen? How many people follow you on social media? How many people this, right? You don't have to be a broadcaster, own your own business to have social media, right? A lot of people have social media. And, you lose your followers. Well, what does that say about you? Now you can't be an influencer, right? You can't sell this product because in order to sell this product, you have to have 100,000 people that follow you, and you only have 8,900. We live in a world that's caught up in numbers. How much money, how many fans, how many people came to the game, how many. And I've always been a quality over quantity guy. Like the amount of people that I truly trust with most things, I could put them on a hand. One hand. And that says something. How many people are in your phone, Dan? Over 5,000 probably. How many of those people would you trust with the inner workings of your life? 5 or less. And that's reality, right? See, we can get to the million viewers and the million subscribers and the, make $1 million and this and that. But you realize there's people that have been in Hollywood that travel the world. Their job is to eat food and talk, or their job is to smile in a dress, or their job is to walk on the red carpet, or play your favorite superhero. And we have seen people in Hollywood take their own lives. We've seen people that are business owners, millionaires, billionaires, take their own life. So what should that show you? That when it comes to value, it ain't about the money. When it comes to value, it ain't about the subscribers. It ain't about the how many people show up. It's about the quality, right? You can have a lynch mob show up and there's 400 people. That's a big quantity, right? That's a big lynch mob. Or do you pay attention to that, or do you pay attention to the one friend that showed up to stand with you when the lynch mob came to the door? Which one's more important to you? Well, there's 399 more lynch mob people than friends, so that must mean that I'm not a good person because there's 399 people that want to come in here and kill me more than there is the person that's defending me. Well, if God is defending you, that's only one. But what is that one? You know what I mean? So it's always quality over quantity to me. And that's not because we haven't gotten the numbers or we haven't gotten this and that. But at the end of my life, God's not going to ask me how many Instagram followers I had, how many people watched my reels, how many people subscribed to my YouTube channel, and how much money I made, or how many people showed up to an event I did. Because Jesus would have 0 for all of those answers. Jesus didn't have any X followers, didn't have any Twitter followers, Twitter X, same thing. He didn't have any Facebook subscribers. He didn't have any YouTube subscribers. He didn't make money as an influencer. He had no Instagram followers. He didn't have any reels out there. He wasn't on TikTok, but he made it to heaven. Jesus had a sea of people walking him to the cross, and a small, tiny fraction that was sad he was going there. So Jesus didn't have the numbers. And I think back to moments like that. I think to myself, when people tell me that what I'm doing isn't enough, or they question what I do, or they question my value, I look back at Jesus and I'm like, man, Jesus had more people against him than for him to go up to the cross. Some of the ones that were for him turned on him. Jesus wasn't a millionaire. Jesus didn't have flashy cars. Jesus didn't have a big old mansion. Jesus didn't have expensive clothes. And Jesus had no followers on any social media. Yet God still thought Jesus was pretty great, and is pretty great, and will always be pretty great. So the next time that somebody determines your value based on what you can do for them, or how much this, or how many that, I challenge you to think about that situation. Instead of feeling bad for yourself when people devalue you, think about, would those people value Jesus? Because all the stuff they're telling you you don't have, he didn't have either. So at the end of the day, if it doesn't matter to God what these people think, then why does it matter to you? Right? He had a bunch of people say, we want to take your son and we want to murder him. And we're going to do it right in front of your face. Do you think God turned his back on Jesus then? You think God said, you know what? You don't have enough followers. You don't have enough support. You got more people against you than for you, so you're not my son anymore. See, the people that truly count see the quality not the quantity. Right? At the end of my life, I'm not going to look at the quantity of how many girls I dated. I'm going to look at the quality of the one that was the difference. I'm not going to look at how many friends I have or don't have, lost or kept. I'm going to look at the quality of the ones that came and stayed. So your value does not lie in the how many or how much. Your value lies in the fact that God called you by name, you are his. And if he knows the name of every star and can see every star for who they are individually and know that they're all different and call them all by name, then how would he not know you? In a sky full of stars and a world full of people, he knows every unique fingerprint because he made it. So the next time you wonder, how do I know I matter? Know that there's only one fingerprint that is you. There's only one voice that is you. There's only one face that is you. Only one person can be you. Somebody might play you on TV or play you in a movie, but nobody can exactly be you, and no one can take the value that you are because they didn't give it to you. God did. And you will always be priceless to him. Always. This has been the Ingredients to Success, proudly presented by Avicolli's, 7839 Oswego Road in Liverpool, New York. We look forward to seeing you there every month for our Liverpool shows, including tonight with Liverpool alum and professional boxer who just got his 20th win, Mr. 20-1. Bryce Mills is going to be with me tonight, November 10th, on-site on location at Avicolli's, 7839 Oswego Road in Liverpool, New York. We will see you there at 6 p.m. tonight. We're going to take our final step aside for the broadcast today. When we come back, we'll wrap up the show and get you ready for Veterans Day. Right after this, inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Shout out to Avicolli's. Can't wait to get some good eating tonight.
This is Jim Dispenza, owner of Game Point Sports Complex. You hear the same story across any sport that kids play and any sport that adults play. There's never enough places to play. That was definitely true with volleyball, definitely true with basketball. Could be cheerleading, it could be field hockey, which is what we're seeing now. Every sport has a lack of places to play, and I think Syracuse in particular is a place where it's really bad, despite the fact that we've got a lot of athletic talent around here. We just seem to have not enough places for people to play, and they're going to different places. They're going to Rochester, they're going to, Buffalo. They're going all different places because we don't have a place here, and I felt like that should change. This was a long project from planning all the way through execution to opening doors. A lot of work went into it, obviously, a lot of money, a lot of resources, and the dream always was kids being in the gym, having a good time. I've always felt like sports is the most unfiltered joy that you can observe with people that people can experience, because it is fun, it is a sense of accomplishment, it's all of that wrapped into one thing, and so watching kids going up and down the court with big smiles on their faces has been just amazing experience. I'm looking forward to years to come of that same thing. We've taken the time to invest in multiple sports, and then what we're finding is the mere fact that we have a large, clean, well-lit space has opened a lot more doors for us beyond basketball, volleyball, pickleball. Now we're having some interest from cheerleading. We've got girls field hockey coming in, and then also there's quite a bit of room for spectators. We've got bleachers, we've got benches, we've got a concession lounge where people can get food and drinks. We're going to have multiple sports going at the same time, using every square inch of this place for what it was conceived for, which is basically people to come in, have a good time in the sport that they prefer. We manage each situation differently. Everybody has different ability to afford different things. Some are bringing 10, 15 people, some are just 2 people. I've had a lot of situations where it's a father shooting around with his son, it's a mother playing pickleball with her daughter or with her son, and then those situations come up and we work with people, and that's allowed us to have groups from 2 people up to 30 people and have some flexible pricing behind it. We're an organization that is here to work with the community community any way we can. And I guess part of it is just making sure that we have the flexibility to put together a plan that makes sense regardless of the size of your group. So in order to book time, the best option is to go to our website, gamepointsports-syr.com. You can click from there and sign up for events, sign up for your own particular training, sign up for birthday parties, all of that.
In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville Bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you. Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
All right, you need to come out here and get yourself the Brooklyn Pickle. I was talking about this with one of my buddies. I was like, yo, there's no better sandwich in the state of New York than the Brooklyn Pickle. And now that I found out that they're going down to North Carolina, we are taking over your taste buds everywhere you are, wherever you're going to be. You need to get yourself out to the Brooklyn Pickle. Pinehurst, you just realized that you found yourself the best sandwich shop that you're ever going to have. This is a glorious moment. It's a blessing to your community. You're welcome. Brooklyn in the house, baby. Go over to the Brooklyn Pickle. You already know what it is.
You heard the man. Head to Brooklyn Pickle Pinehurst on 1788 Old Morgantown Road in Southern Pines, North Carolina. Here's a message from Renee from Bryan's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York. Open Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and Sundays for brunch.
It's a lot like the way that my mom and dad ran their restaurant. We have put in place a lot of people that are family to us, very similar to how my dad hired people that were family to him. And then the tradition I'm carrying on is a lot of the items that are on our menu are my dad's. And he taught our chefs how to recreate his dishes. So I think that Tommy McInerney, who our executive chef is, to him it is an art. And I think that when he does create a dish, it's not just about making the food taste delicious, what is definitely our priority, but it's an art to him, and it's almost like his canvas on a plate where he just wants the colors to look great, and people love it because he takes pride in that. And Brian and I appreciate that. We want it to obviously look good and taste good. I will tell you, when we opened up, it was 6 weeks before COVID. And what was amazing was the community, our friends and family stepped up, and everybody did takeout. Everybody supported us. Our hearts were just so filled. So to Brian and I, obviously our friends come all the time, and we just have repeat customers in Jamesville, and I think people going to our previous restaurant in Green Lakes are making the trip to come to Bryan's Landing to support us. And I mean, I think we have great food and a great atmosphere. So it's very, very important to us.
Head to Bryan's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York, where memories have become recipes that are now meals to share with you. Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and on Sundays for brunch. And be sure to come out for live music Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Life gets busy, and sometimes that means us running around. So K9 Camp Dog Daycare offers you an opportunity to give your dog a place to stay while you take care of what you need to throughout the day. K9 Camp Dog Daycare is located on 228 Old Bridge Street in East Syracuse, New York. You can see it from the highway, and it's just off of Erie Boulevard across from BJ's Wholesale Club. Call 315-437-7110. That's 315-437-7110 to schedule an appointment to bring your dog in and tour the facility. Appointments are Monday through Thursday after 6:30, where you and your dog can see everything that K9 Camp Dog Daycare has to offer, including a self-serve dog wash and a retail store filled with all of your dog's wants and needs, including food, treats, harnesses, leashes, and more, making K9 Camp Dog Daycare your one-stop shop for your furry loving friend. Right, Lily?
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant.
GG Cards and Breaks. Like, comment, subscribe.
GG Cards and Breaks coming to you on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York is your one-stop sports card and trading card shop. There is no place like GG Cards and Breaks. The kid spirit that you have when you go in there, when you leave there, when you're in the moment, looking at the single cards that they have, their packs, their boxes, their graded cards. You can go and look through all their display cases and take home what you know, or you can get a pack or a box or a few and not even know what you're going to get. And then there's that element of surprise. You get to have that big kid life all the time at GG Cards and Breaks. They have Disney, Lorcana, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Magic the Gathering, One Piece, Pokemon, as well as football, basketball, baseball, soccer, hockey, and more, including all the supplies you need to protect your cards, travel with them, and showcase them. GG Cards and Breaks is a place unlike any other. It's like a time capsule. And it's right there on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York. We'll see you there off at Teal Ave, Tuesday through Saturday from 10 to 6, and on Sundays from 10 to 5. Big time shout out to Chick-fil-A in DeWitt. Don't you miss a second of going out to Chick-fil-A DeWitt. Giant behemoth of a Chick-fil-A. You can't miss it. It's on the corner of Bridge Street and Erie Boulevard. So if you're on Erie, you see that giant brick building. You're coming off of Bridge Street, you see that giant brick building. You see the double drive-through. They, of course, allow you to order on the app, go through the drive-thru, go inside. They have fundraising, catering opportunities with Megan Sorber and her team. So go over to Chick-fil-A DeWitt and experience Chick-fil-A in so many different ways, from dining in to fundraising to catering to ordering off the app, and of course trying those limited time specials like the Pretzel Cheddar Club in original chicken, spicy chicken, and grilled chicken, all at Chick-fil-A DeWitt. With that being said, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, I appreciate you for being here with us where sports meets that thing called life inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Cannot thank you enough for being a part of the show. We're up and down the East Coast, the Midwest, and the West Coast every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, youtube.com and facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT, and on wakeupcalldt.podbean.com inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Once we go live, we jump into the archive, and you'll find us on Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, Player FM, Podbean, Podchaser.com, Podvine, Spotify, TuneIn, and YouTube. All you have to do is search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. Make sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell, and download us from all of these wonderful outlets. Big time thanks to our wonderful team of partners in Central and Upstate New York, Great Lakes Honda City, Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, GG Cards and Breaks, Myers Creek, which has 2 locations, one in the country on 33 Rippleton Road in Cazenovia, which probably looks beautiful today with the snowfall. And, of course, in the Syracuse Inner Harbor, where we have Wake Up Call Game Day Live. And our final one of the Syracuse football season will be November 29th, 2 days after Thanksgiving. We'll be on site on location at their Inner Harbor location for Myers Creek on 720 Van Rensselaer Street in Syracuse, New York, in the Syracuse Inner Harbor. Chick-fil-A Cicero, Avicolli's, as well as Game Point Sports Complex, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Mon Pa's, the snack capital of the world, Pizza Man, Chick-fil-A DeWitt, Brian's Landing, Canine Campground Dog Boarding, Mother's Cupboard, and of course we are the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse. Find the Bobcats every single month in the Bobcat Buzz. Over 100 videos, specials with the Bobcats are there for you and constantly growing on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and find our BSC Syracuse playlist. And you'll also find the Bobcats by going to wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to syracuse.bscbobcats.com and go Bobcats. The Binghamton University Bearcats are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Find your Bearcats every single Tuesday. We did it early this week because of the holiday, but you'll find them on Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Eastern Time worldwide, celebrating the Bearcats, student athletes, coaches, administration, and alumni. You'll find all of our content by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, find the Binghamton playlist. You'll also find your Bearcats on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to binghamtonbearcats.com and go Bearcats. The Onondaga Community College Lasers are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Find your lasers, the newest addition to the team, by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and find our OCC playlist. You'll also find the lasers on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to onondaгаlasers.com. And we were out there at OCC in the SRC Arena for the Laser Classic for women's basketball and men's basketball. Under promise, over deliver. We did extra videos, extra content, got on site for some extra time with the Lasers, and you have responded so well. Thousands of you have watched our women's basketball interviews, and the men's ones are going up right after the show today. So thank you so much for your love and support for the Lasers and our Laser Lounge here on Wake Up Call in our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with Onondaga Community College. Go Lasers. And with that being said, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, inside Mon Pa's Popcorn.com's What's Poppin', I want to give a special thanks to college football analyst for ESPN and commentator on the ACC Network, Steve Addazio, longtime college football coach and a very good friend of mine. Shout out to Steve for a great conversation this morning. that only gets better with time. Shout out to Yanniah Boyd. We found out that we're the same person in a different body. Pretty cool. So shout out to Yanniah. A lot of stuff in common with the Binghamton Bearcats women's basketball student athlete here inside the 2025-26 season. Make sure you go out and see Yanniah and her team on the road and at home in the Binghamton Events Center this season and beyond. And many thanks to Avicolli's and all that they do and for the ingredients to success. Today's topic, what is your value? Understanding that God considers you priceless, always has, always will, and that you determine your value. It's not up to anybody else. So how about that? In a world where we leave it up to everybody but us, it should only be in the eyes of God, and we should be the ones that are valuing ourselves and not waiting for the world to do that. So, with that, whether you're in entertainment or not. So with that being said, I will see you tonight at Avicolli's. I get to be with my little brother, Bryce Mills, just bringing that thing to life, man, doing his thing. 20-1, just got his 20th victory. And the man, Mr. Bryce Mills, will be with me down the street from the school that he has as his alma mater, Liverpool High School. He will be with me at Avicolli's tonight, November 10th, 6 p.m. We'll be on the pizza side. Come and hang out with us. Last time we were there, fans came in. We got to talk with people giving them a shout out, showing them love. Somebody brought in a glove to have him sign for his son, I believe his 13-year-old son, if I remember correctly. So Bryce Mills will be with me following his 20th professional boxing career victory. We'll be on site on location at Avicolli's tonight, Monday, November 10th, 6 p.m. We will see you at 7839 Oswego Road in Liverpool, New York, right down the road from Liverpool High School. In the meantime, have a beautiful day. Find all of our content, including our OCC coverage that is being added right after the show and has been added last night. Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, X at Call DT, Instagram at Wake Up Call _DT, all the time on wakeupcalldt.com. God bless. No stress. Do your best. From the Great Lakes Honda City Studios, you're amazing. I send you my love, and God loves you too. Take care.